Hey everyone, back with another Kinetics home workout. Again, just a reminder, these are set up to be mostly body weight, but you can certainly add bands, kettlebells, dumbbells, or even some homemade equipment that you have available to you. So we'll talk about what our prep section is, what our sweat section is, and our breathe section, break down the movements, how you can adapt or modify those movements based on your ability as well as space and equipment constraints that you may or may not have. So today we have our prep is 3 to 4 sets of 4 different movements or elements. The first one being a duck walk. So we'll do 30 seconds of a duck walk followed by 8 kickstand squats, then 30 seconds of a straight leg bear crawl, and lastly 5 reps per position of a bent over IYT. So that duck walk, we're gonna start down in a squat position, and I'm going to just walk heel to toe, trying to keep my torso upright, okay, and my hips low. Okay? Adjust that based on your ability. If you can't get quite so low, you may be up a little bit higher. Same concept applies. We're gonna walk heel to toe. Okay? 30 seconds there. After that, our kickstand squat without any weight. So the foot position is going to be important on this. Instead of having your feet even and flat on the floor for both sides, what we're going to do is take a slight staggered stance. This is also called a staggered stance squat sometimes. And the back foot is going to be up on the ball of the foot. As I lower down and come back up, I'm squatting with one foot in more of a lunge position, the other foot in a squat position. Some things you can play around with this is sit with a little bit more weight on the leg that's flat, that has the flat foot on the floor, okay? Starting to work a little bit more unilateral leg strength. You should feel that in the glute a little bit more on the foot that's flat. You can certainly load this up with a kettlebell or dumbbell in a goblet position, right? And same thing, squatting down and coming up, trying to emphasize effort on the flat foot a little bit more than the one that you're up on the ball of your foot. Just a variant and a unique squatting pattern, and you'll see where this might come into play once we get to our sweat piece here today. After that, our straight leg bear crawl, much like it sounds, we're gonna extend the knee, okay? And as I walk, I'm stepping in opposition, okay? So opposite hand, opposite foot, and I'm just moving for 30 seconds. Depending on the space parameters that you have for both your duck walk and your bear crawl, you may need to kind of go forward and back, side to side, if you're in a smaller room. If you have a little bit more open space, you're outside, by all means, just go in one straight line for that 30 seconds. Our last movement is a bent over IYT. So I'm going to show you just kind of upright what the arm position or arm movement should look like, and then I'll show you with the bent over position. So our IYT is just going to refer to raising the arms, keeping the elbows straight and the thumbs up. I'm going to raise them in a straight up like an I, back down. I'm going to raise them up at about a 45-degree angle like a Y, back down, and then I'm raising them out to the sides into my T. So I create an I, a Y, and a T. I'm doing this from a bent over position, so I'm going to hinge, keep my back nice and flat, and I'm going to bring those arms up, I, Y, and T. Okay? Today we're calling for 5 reps per position. Okay? So basically, if you count 1, 1, 1, and repeat that 5 times, that will be a complete set. If you have some light, maybe 1 to 3 pound dumbbells, or even 2.5 pound plates, and you're pretty strong, you can certainly hold those and add that little bit of weight as you progress through. Just make sure that if you're doing that, you're able to control the movement still, that you're not throwing the weight up or using your torso or a little momentum to get it going. Nice and controlled on those. So 3 to 4 sets there. Then we'll move on to our sweat piece. 4 to 5 sets. Again, we'd like to give a little bit of variance in rep ranges and working rounds or sets that you're gonna complete based on time you have available as well as what your current fitness level is. So 4 to 5 sets, we want a grind pace here. That is most of our workouts. Where you're working hard, it's sub-maximal, right? It's not the most effort you can put in, but it's still a tough effort. So think 7 or 8 out of 10 when we see that grind descriptor. So the first thing we have, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of movement. It's a multi-pattern squat, okay? All we're looking for is 15 to 20 reps. Every single rep, you are going to change your foot position slightly, okay? That's really the only directive that I'm giving you, other than the movement should be controlled and stable, right? So we're not flopping down and kind of flailing through these reps as fast as possible. They're nice and smooth and controlled, okay? So I'll show you kind of an example of what that could look like. If you only have maybe a handful of squat positions in your repertoire, then by all means, just rotate through those same maybe 3 or 4. When we refer to squat, we're referring to any sort of lower body push. So we can include lunging in the sequence as well, as you'll see right here. So it might look something like this, where I start with my traditional squat stance. I'm gonna squat, stand up. Next time, I'm gonna come narrow. Next time, I might do more of a sumo squat. The next time, I might step out, Cossack squat, or lateral lunge, kickstand squat, so on and so forth, where every single rep, there's a slight change. It does not need to be a monumental change to your foot position, right? Elevating the heels, okay, so you're doing an active foot squat for some of these is fine, right? You saw me widening and narrowing the foot position, going into unilateral work, okay? Just try and keep it smooth, fluid, and controlled. As always, you can load this. Easiest way is gonna be either throwing on a weight vest, holding a kettlebell or dumbbell in likely a goblet position. So have a little fun with it, be creative, but you have 15 to 20 total squats for that movement. After that, we have 10 to 15 reps of a reverse dive bomb push-up. So basically, you're gonna lower yourself into the bottom of a push-up and then push back into down dog. Here, so we go down, push back. So instead of dive bomb, push up here, where I'm coming from that kind of down dog back up, I'm just reversing the order. So I'm lowering to the push up and then pressing back. A little bit more of a shoulder emphasis on the press versus chest on the push up. 10 to 15 reps there. With most of our push-ups, we're gonna tell you the quickest, simplest way to modify it for your ability is to elevate your hands, okay? If that doesn't work, then by all means, you can play around with any other push-up variation that works well for you. Just understand we're trying to emphasize a little bit more, closer to a vertical press with this movement. After we finish that, we have 1 minute in the tall plank. So tall plank position, real active here, anchoring those hands down, tighten up the belly, squeeze the butt, and we're actively contracting and holding that position. So nice, hard contraction, right? We wanna work for that minute. We're not just kind of slouching and hanging on the connective tissues of the joints. We come out of that plank and we'll have 30 seconds of high knees. In those high knees, we wanna make sure every step is coming up at hip height or just over, and we're staying light on the balls of our feet, okay? So here, alternating those hands as if you are actually running, okay? Trying to stay real light on your toes. Don't let those heels slam onto the ground. Knees coming up over the hip every single stride. Lastly, we have our breathe section. Again, you guys hear me say this a lot. Do not skip these sections. Take the 5 minutes, even extend it to 10 or 15 if you have the time. Get a little bit of space in your life. Take some time, breathe, close your eyes, deep breath into the belly, right? If it helps, set maybe a guided meditation app or some peaceful music in the background to kind of put you in that headspace. All we're doing here today is a heel sit. So with that, I'm going to point my toes so that the top of my foot is on the floor. I'm gonna sit back so that my butt is touching my heels. Okay? If this is uncomfortable for you at the ankle, you can shove a rolled up towel or pillow underneath your ankles, and that should relieve that discomfort. If you can't get into this position or any of our breathe positions for some reason, find something that elicits a moderate stretch that you can sit in for a period of time and work on some breath work and just getting yourself into a nice recovery state. Okay? Excellent work with this today, guys. Go after it, have some fun, and we'll see you next time.